Does connecting with a higher power really hold the key to spiritual awakening? Welcome to Path of Transformation with Anjali, Chugh. Our program will bring you the tools and techniques needed for transformation on a physical, spiritual, emotional, and psychological level. Now, here's your host, Anjali, Chugh.
Good afternoon, listeners. You're tuned into Path of Transformation on Seventh Wave Voice America. Today's episode is and will always be very special for me, just for the reason that in a few moments from now, I'm going to have an hour-long conversation with someone for whom I have a deep respect and admiration, especially for his ideologies. The tools of transformation that he suggests are very simple, doable, and practically possible for everyone. You'll understand what I mean when you hear the wise man talk. So today we have with us Tony Samara, the author of several books, namely Shaman's Wisdom, From the Heart, Different Yet the Same, and Deeper Than Words. Tony is a renowned spiritual teacher who was born in England, spent his early years in Egypt and later in Norway, where he discovered the Zen Buddhist philosophy. This discovery eventually led him to Zen Center in California. To explore the essence of spirituality, he lived with shamanic communities around the globe, especially the ones in Amazon River and Andes region. He encourages everyone to live actively in a noble way in order to realize the evolution of human consciousness. People from all over the world visit him to take spiritual guidance and experience the bliss of just being in his presence. His main places of activity are in Europe, yet he attracts a global audience through frequent online interviews and spiritual discourses. You can visit his website, www.tonysamara.org, to get to know him better. So, welcome, Tony.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be speaking to yourself and all your listeners.
Thank you. If I'm not wrong, you're joining us from Germany today?
Yes, I am, and it's dark and cold here, but a beautiful day because it's just snowed, and so it's a beautiful natural phenomena, which apparently it happens in January and February, but this is the first time it's happened this year, so it's a wonderful thing to see the snow.
Wow, I had to ask you because you keep traveling so much, so I didn't know where you are exactly today. So
that's the tricky thing about any spiritual teacher. No one knows exactly where they're coming from.
Exactly. It's an honor to have you here, Tony. And I have to say this before we start. Humility, modesty, simplicity, and of course wisdom are the virtues of a true guru, and you have it all. I heard you once say that the use of word I should not be viewed as a sign of arrogance or ego, as it is a part of one's identity and should not be separated from the self. And yet you seem to have risen above this, what we call ego. What, according to you, is ego, and why has it been labeled as evil from biblical and mythological times?
Wow, that is an interesting question, and I do like it because actually the reason I embarked upon the spiritual journey at a very young age was just that question, what is the I? What is the real? And I think most people live in a world where we feel the I, the ego identity, is the mundane world. We don't realize that there is a deeper and more sacred aspect to what it means to be a human being. So for some reason, that identity with the mundane has created this idea that the ego is a negative or something that limits our experience. But, that is not a very clear picture of reality as I see it. I see that the ego is much more complex and has many layers to it. And, of course, one layer being the mundane is, on some level, confusing because it takes us into one mode of thinking or one belief system. But beyond that, the ego actually can be quite beneficial, not meaning the little ego, but the ego that is more connected